All right, class, welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a case study of a brand that I think is just a masterclass in evolution, BMW. We're going to really unpack the strategy that's kept them right at the top of the luxury car market for, believe it or not, over a century.
So, this is really the core question we're going to explore today. Think about it. It's the ultimate test, right? How does a brand that's literally built its entire identity on the internal combustion engine navigate one of the biggest disruptions in its industry's history without losing what made it famous in the first place? Here's our game plan. We're going to start at the very beginning, with BMW's first real lesson in survival. Then we'll see how they built their legendary brand. And finally, how they're using that exact same playbook to tackle the electric age.
Now, to really understand BMW today, you have to go back in time. The company's first major challenge, and I mean an existential one, came right after they were founded back in 1916.
So as you can see, BMW, which stands for Bayerische Motorenwerke, didn't even start with cars. Nope, they made aircraft engines. But then the Treaty of Versailles banned Germany from producing them, and the company was basically facing extinction, so they were forced to pivot, first into motorcycles, and then, finally, in 1928, they got into automobiles.
And this right here establishes a theme that's absolutely crucial to understanding the brand. Adaptability isn't just a strategy for BMW, it's baked into their DNA. This ability to pivot when their back is against the wall, well, that's the first key to their survival.
Okay, so they survived. But how did BMW go from simply surviving to absolutely thriving? How did they end up crafting one of the most powerful brand positions in the entire world?
This timeline shows a truly masterful evolution. You see, they started out by building a reputation for engineering excellence. That's a very rational, logical benefit. But then in the 1970s, something clicked. They shifted to something far more emotional, the feeling of driving itself. They stopped selling mechanics and started selling pleasure.
And boom, this is what it all led to. This tagline, introduced in the 70s, became the bedrock of their entire brand. It wasn't about being the most luxurious or the most comfortable. It was about being, without a doubt, the absolute best car to drive. Every single decision from then on flowed from that simple, powerful promise.
So, who is this ultimate driving machine actually for? Because, a great product is completely useless without a clear audience. So let's break down their marketing strategy using the classic STP framework. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, STP is Marketing 101. It stands for segmentation, targeting, and positioning. It's a simple three-step model. First, you map out the entire market. Second, you choose which slice of that pie you're going after. And third, you position your brand to win that specific slice. First up, segmentation. Look, BMW isn't trying to sell a car to everybody. They slice the market by income, focusing on premium, affluent customers. But, and this is more important, they segment by psychographics. They're going after status-conscious performance enthusiasts. These are people who aren't just looking for a way to get from A to B, they want an experience. Next, targeting. From that affluent segment, they zero in on their ideal customers. We're talking established business professionals, entrepreneurs, and those hardcore car enthusiasts. But they also keep a sharp focus on a secondary target, younger, aspirational buyers who see a BMW as a symbol of the success they're working so hard for. A brand's position is really only defined by how different it is from its rivals. So to truly get what BMW is all about, we have to look at its key competitors and the kind of brand territories they're trying to own.
This table just lays it out so perfectly. In the luxury car market, if you want pure, over-the-top comfort, you think Mercedes-Benz. If you want cutting-edge tech and sleek design, you probably think Audi. For electric innovation, Tesla owns that space, no question. But if you want the sheer thrill of performance and the joy of driving, that territory belongs to BMW.
And they defend this territory ferociously. Their engineering is always driver-centric. Their interiors find that perfect balance between luxury and performance, making sure comfort never gets in the way of the drive. And of course, their M-Series, born from motorsports, acts as this powerful halo, constantly reminding everyone of their high-performance DNA.
And this brings us full circle, right back to that huge question we started with. The rise of these silent, instant torque EVs, well, it posed a direct threat to a brand built on the sound and the feel of an engine. This was, hands down, their biggest identity crisis since 1919.
So, how did they adapt? And this is the really brilliant part. They didn't abandon the ultimate driving machine. they evolved it. The focus just expanded. It went from being purely about engine performance to a new blend of performance and sustainability. The promise was no longer just about the drive, but about the future of the drive.
Now, this reinvention was a very deliberate, multi-step process. First, they launched the I-Series as their dedicated electric sub-brand. They started aggressively integrating all the new tech. They updated their marketing to talk about sustainability, and they zeroed in on global markets like China, where the demand for premium EVs is just exploding.
So as we wrap up this case study, what are the big takeaways? I mean, if we had to boil down over a century of success into one core formula, what would that even look like?
It really comes down to this powerful combination. A crystal clear identity built on driving pleasure, the absolute engineering excellence to make that promise believable, a diversified portfolio that covers gas, electric, and performance, and finally, knowing that they are selling an emotional, premium experience, not just a machine.
And ultimately, this is the thesis of the entire BMW story. Their success comes from this incredible ability to adapt to new realities, be it technological or cultural, while fiercely protecting the core identity that makes them, well, them. From aircraft engines to electric cars, BMW proves that the real secret to long-term dominance is knowing when to evolve and knowing what must never, ever change.